every brother that's caught in the crossfire. That's caught in the crossfire.
Without mercy.
Alright, how's it going everybody? Alninio here, and today we're going to be discussing all the main changes that affect Katarina in patch 6.22, which is the preseason coming this Wednesday, November 11 or November 10. Not exactly sure 100%, but it should be up pretty soon. And after some time passes, you know, the patch will be up and everything after the video's out. So let's talk about the main changes. Like, what are the final things that went through and why I think those changes were good. We're all just going to be specifically talking about Katarina, items that affect Katarina, changes with Amar that affect Kat, and masteries. We're going to be discussing those and telling you my thoughts on what I think, what's like really good for this change for Katarina. So first of all, base health has been increased for Kat from 510 to 590. It's fantastic, good early. Improving her early. Health per level reduced by only 1, doesn't matter, that's okay. But the base health regen went from 4.5 to 7.5. By the way, health regen was like her biggest weakness in laning phase, because you just could not sustain well in laning. Katarina had easily one of the worst health regen, base health regens in mid lane. So I'm happy to see they buffed it. They're obviously going for a buff on her early game, because her early game is one of her weakest phases of the game. So I'm happy they actually went with that. Used to have to buy at least Doran Shield to sustain well in lane, because your health regen was just atrocious. Like, it is atrocious. If you get poked a lot, you can't just sit there and health regen from your base health regen. It's just not good enough. So some matchups you actually had to buy Doran Shield, some matchups you can buy Dark Seal, because you're not afraid of getting poked as much and you can dodge skill shots. I personally buy Dark Seal, but sometimes against Victor, for example, I would have bought Doran Shield. So it's good to see they buffed that. So health regen per level, growth stat by the way means per level, that's what they mean. So from 0.55 to 0.7, so again, per level health regen increase, awesome, good stuff. Base armor upped by 1, base magic resist upped by 1 from 32 to 34, and base movement speed upped from 345 to 340. Sorry, it's reduced. Katarina's already hella fast anyway. I buy Luden, Sork Shoes, probably still gonna buy Luden, even though Rayla is a really good option now with her new kit. It still is, you know, still good stuff. You know, she's still fast. They only reduced 5 move speed, so it's nothing too much to worry about. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with those changes to her base stats. Like, it's really good. She needed this. She needed this badly. Her Q. So obviously, her Q cooldown is a lot less by late game, 7 seconds to 8 seconds in the late game. So overall, I think that's an okay change. It's only by 1 second. Her damage upped by a lot, so that's very nice to see that it went up. For every level it's been up. So by late game it's 195. Good stuff. You know, more Q damage makes me happy. Ratio reduced for the AP ratio, which is okay because they compensated by increasing the damage of the bouncing blade itself. Range is reduced, so it went from 675 to 625. That's actually something they didn't note down in the Katarina wiki, so it's good I'm making this video now just to really go through every single change that went through. So finally actually revealed the range of bouncing blade and has been reduced from 675 to 625. So the bouncing blade range, you actually have to get a little bit closer now for that Q hit. It kind of makes sense because Katarina's not a poke champion. Katarina's more like Q, go in. Also, I think they wanted to synchronize bouncing blade with Shampoo well. So I think Shampoo has higher range than bouncing blade still. I don't think they lower the range or anything like that. So they probably keep it the same. Targets hit from 4 to 3. Although it hit way more than 4 champions. So I don't know what they mean when they say targets hit 4. Katarina can hit way more than 4. She could hit like 5 people or 6 people. I can't exactly recall how many. I think, yeah, 5. She can hit up to 5 units. So I don't know why they write 4 here. I'm a little bit confused by that. But yeah, in the end, it hits 3 people and then it flies off and it hits the ground. So of course, picking up a dagger causes Katarina to slash all enemies around her in a small area. We all know this. That's from her Sinister Steel. Her old W is implemented into her passive now, so anytime she picks up a dagger, she does the spin. Dagger radius is 340. I think that what they're talking about is the knife on the ground after it bounces off. 340 radius, 340 units. Dagger duration is 4 seconds, so that's how long it stays on the ground. Dagger spin damage is 75 to 285 at levels 1 to 18. It goes up per level, so that's within Q itself, depending on level. Not depending on how many points you put in Q, depending on your level. So there's that. And dagger spin ratio, 1.0 bonus attack damage, and there are AP changes here to the AP power at level 1 to 16. So that's a dagger spin ratio. The Sinister Steel that we were talking about has bonus attack damage and AP power. AP. Anyway, that's it, from level 1 to 16. So you don't actually have to hit level 18 for that. Its cap is at 16. For those curious, when they say from level 1 to 16, it's basically level 1, 6, 11, and 16. Those are the scaling. It scales up between those levels. So it says 1 to 16, but it's 1, 6, 11, 16. That's the levels it goes up. So there's that. Next up is preparation. Katarina tosses a dagger into the air, gains movement speed for a short duration. So we all know this, of course. Cooldown is completely different from old Sinister Steel. There's movement speed that goes up per level, decays over 1.25 seconds. So your move speed decays over 1.25 seconds. And there's a delay until dagger lands, which is 1.25 seconds. This doesn't go down if the more points you put in W. The only thing that goes up is move speed and cooldown. Not this. This stays flat throughout the entire game. 1.25 seconds. Next up is Shumpo, her ideal ability. Less cooldown. Way less cooldown, which I'm happy about. Shumpo is very important for Katarina's kit, so I'm happy to see they reduce the cooldown for it. Less damage on Shumpo, which I'm fine with, because you Shumpo a lot more often in this Katarina. You Shumpo all over the damn place, so it's kinda intensity. So there's that. The range has been increased. That's what I was talking about with the Shumpo range. Of course, they will make it higher than Bouncing Blades range, so it was already higher. So they put it up even more, 725 range. So awesome, good stuff. More range means more happiness. Ratio, 0.65 total attack damage and 0.25 AP. So there is AD scaling here going on with Shumpo, which we never had before. So it used to be only 0.25, now it stays 0.25, but there's an addition to attack damage in there, which I found interesting. Shumpo now targets an area around Katarina's target and strike the nearest enemy if cast on ally or dagger. So there you have it. You Shumpo on, even if you Shumpo on an ally minion and there's an enemy, like an enemy minion around that ally minion, your champion will actually attack that minion once you Shumpo on your ally minion. It will basic attack it. So there is that. On a knife's edge, in addition to allied and enemy units, Katarina can target daggers with Shumpo. Targeting a dagger with Shumpo or walking over it refunds 78 up to 96% at level 1 to 16 of Shumpo's total cooldown. So there you have it. Katarina can target daggers, which is from her Q and W, and they do a certain amount of damage, like it was said in the Q. Remember guys, it doesn't reset Shumpo fully, it reduces the cooldown of it by a percentage, and that goes up per level. Keep in mind, this is not points in E, this is by depending on level 1 to 16, just like we said earlier, 1, 6, 11, and 16. Those are the levels that will increase those. This is not by putting points in E. This would only be affected by damage and the cooldown. This stays flat. So, of Shumpo's total cooldown. So there you have it. A new reset. Shumpo now resets Katarina's basic attack timer. So you can basic attack, E, basic attack, to get that one last hit, or throw a W, basic attack, E, throw a Sinister Steel, basic attack, you know, you can have interesting ways of dealing damage to enemies now if you're in melee range. So it's nice to see they put that change in. I'm happy about that. And of course the main one is she cannot shampoo to target wards anymore. So it's gone. We all know this. It's been removed. So here we go. Death Lotus. The main change is Death Lotus. Daggers thrown 10 to 15. That's because she throws daggers more often now, and it's much faster. It has faster timing. So there's 15 daggers total instead of 10, which is awesome. But for that, they actually reduced the damage per dagger, right? And added 0.22 bonus attack damage and 0.19 AP, which has been reduced from before. So there you have that. Total damage, once you get the full ulti channel, it's that much damage per point in R. So there you go. 3.30 bonus attack damage, 2.85 ability power for the total damage dealt. So, pretty awesome. I'd say I'm fine with that. I'm not too worried about this because she throws out more daggers, which means there's more DPS, and I feel Rylai is really good with this because Rylai gives a really nice slow. Imagine like slowing someone for 0.166 seconds. That's exactly, by the way, the time it takes to slow the enemy. 0.166 seconds. It used to be 0.25 seconds per dagger. Like, you throw one dagger, wait 0.25 seconds, throw another, and another, and another. That's how it was before. Now it's 0.166. So, the time of our cooldown is still the same. It's just the daggers thrown are faster, meaning there's more, like it's a faster channel. So, that means overall it's 0.166 seconds exactly per dagger, in between every dagger. And of course now it displays the radius of Death Lotus to her and her enemies, so they know the range of the Death Lotus. So it will be obviously there shown on their screen, so keep in mind of that. Although I don't know if it would be shown if you're inside a bush. I think it would still show even if you're inside a bush and they don't have vision of you and you press R. I'm not 100% sure on that, so I'll have to make sure on that once I play the preseason Katarina, or you guys can let me know in the comments if you want, or if you've played PvE Katarina and that change was, you know, it was there. Cannot be cancelled by movement and basic attack commands in the first and last 0.25 seconds of channeling. Like, okay, I don't mind, but why would you make it in the last 0.25 seconds? I don't know, it doesn't really seem that like big of a deal. It's not that many seconds anyway, 0.25 seconds. So now we're actually going to talk about Aegis because that's huge for Katarina. The MR aura has been removed. We're going to go quickly over this just so you guys get the point of why I'm talking about this. No longer gives nearby allied units 10 MR, which is amazing for Katarina because that shit was so annoying. I basically, every time a support mandatorily picked Aegis, like all supports, their mandatory job is to buy Aegis and buy Locket and buy that annoying shitty item that gives MR aura to their whole team. So I was always forced to buy, you know, a void staff for that because it was pretty annoying because others also buy MR, so that stacks along with the aura and it was pretty annoying. So I'm happy this is gone. They removed the base health regen and they removed the health, so it doesn't give health anymore. Instead it gives 30 armor and 30 MR. That's all it does. That's all. It has cloth armor and total cost is 1,100. So there you go. Now the Locket also no longer gives nearby allied units 15 MR. So that's on the Locket, it's also been removed, but the shield stays there. It still grants shield to the allies and all that, and it decays over 2.5 seconds. Which I think is new. I don't think the shield before decayed. So let's say like they're doing Baron and they have to lock it. It actually decays. That shield decays. It doesn't stay there. So I'm actually okay with that. I'm happy that the shield doesn't stay there and doesn't decay. So overall that's a good change for me because I'm a Katarina player and I really hated this item. It was just so powerful. It was like the best way to counter Cat. Magic resist from 20 to 60. So the MR on this item has been increased, but only on the person that has that item on them. So it doesn't give an aura to the whole team anymore. Only for that person that buys this item gets 60 flat MR. I'm kind of okay with this because I was more so annoyed by the aura. It's still quite a bit of MR from 20 to 60. That's huge, right? That's huge amount of MR for this item, but I don't really mind this too much. Also, it costs less, by the way. It costs less. Overall, I'm okay with this. Also, it no longer grants health, which is actually huge too. It no longer grants health, so I don't have to worry about, you know, a lot of HP. You can get resets if they don't have a lot of HP, and that's very, very nice. Next thing we're going to talk about is Abyssal Scepter, which also was huge for Katarina. I think this item is now much better in many situations. The aura has been removed. It no longer reduces magic resist of enemies by 20, or, well, it's actually to 25 by late game, and 10 in the early game. It scales through level, but okay, whatever they say. Magic damage amplification, that's the thing I want to talk about. Nearby enemy champions take 10% more magic damage. You can see how this would be good on Katarina, because Katarina is always up close in your face. She's in melee range all the time, and she kicks ass, right? She kicks ass, and getting that 10% increased damage is awesome. However, this is very important, guys. Listen, however, you need AP damage to make this good. Basically, to make this item deal damage is you actually need to buy AP beforehand to deal 10% more magic damage. So it just makes sense to buy like a Rylai first item or a Luden first item and then buy Abyssal after. Abyssal is very, very good in the mid game for sure, just because it deals that extra 10% more magic damage, which I find that awesome. I don't think this is a rush item anymore. You can buy Negatron Cloak if you're worried about poke from AP champions. You can do that if you want, but don't finish Abyssal early game. I don't think you need to do that. I really don't think you have to. Basically, Riot's trying to push away like the early power spike and making it feel useful at, you know, all the stages of the game. However, I personally think it's gonna be really, really good once you have like your main items, like, you know, Luden, Rylai, Abyssal. By Abyssal at that stage of the game, that's when I think it will shine. However, it is good overall, even in the early game to some extent. Like it does, you know, it's a cheap item, it gets shit done. I still would buy a powerful item on Cat like Luden, and then I'll prioritize Abyssal later. I don't really focus on MR too much as a Katarina player. I don't like to prioritize defense stats early. I like to focus like on Zhonya, GA, or Abyssal. In terms of the MR on the Abyssal, it's really good mid game. However, I would definitely buy Abyssal because of its 10% more magic damage, which is more appealing to me rather than the MR it gives. I don't, you know, MR is awesome and all, it's fantastic, I love MR, but I would definitely buy this because of the new passive, not because of the MR. Next up we're going to talk about is the Masteries, which are actually huge for Cat. So we're going to talk over the Masteries. This item, this Mastery moved to tier 4, so it's here. And this new Mastery, your first basic attack against the champion deals additional 10 plus 1 per level damage. So it does plus 1 per level. Every time you level up, it deals more damage. So it would do 18 damage at level 18, basically. It would do 15 damage at level 15. That's what they mean. So it's on a 9-second cooldown. Alright. And I think this is not exactly ideal for Katarina. I don't think it's worth, you know, that Mastery specifically, because you don't really basic attack much in bushes and shit. But this might be good if you're trying to go in basic attack, because, you know, your Shampoo now resets basic attack. So I think I'm questioning, like, if there's a better option than Fresh Blood, I will take the other option. Otherwise, this seems okay in laning phase. It puts out more aggression. You deal more damage with your basic attack. You know, it's on a 9-second cooldown, but it's really good. It's like going in, going out, going in, going out. You have that skirmishing in laning phase. I like the sound of that. But if there's a better option, I'll take the better option. But so far, this sounds okay. It does sound pretty good early, which is what the Riot's trying to do. They're making Cats early pretty good, so that's why they're, you know, adding this Mastery to make the early pretty good. Next up is Double-Edged Sword. This is the Mastery I would always go on Cat. So it increases damage dealt from 3% to 5%, increased damage taken. So I am so glad they made this change. This looks awesome, man. The fact that you can deal more damage now, I love the sound of that. Like, to me, that sounds Craigasm. Like, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. So, damage taken, I don't care about that too much, because I'll take damage no matter what. You know, I usually do not take much damage when I'm playing Katarina. I just deal damage. So I'm not too worried about the damage taken part, you know, being increased. The only thing I care about is damage dealt. Bounty Hunter has been buffed, 1.5% for damage per unique kill, and maximum bonus 7.5%. So there you go, more damage per unique kill. So in total, you'd have 7.5%. People sometimes wouldn't understand this. Basically, every team member on the enemy that you kill gives you 1.5 increased permanent damage. And Katarina, what does she do best? Kill shit. So it kind of makes sense to go for this. It does seem good. It does seem powerful. And in the end, this number is a lot higher than this number here, which we will go in a sec here and talk about. It's safe and guaranteed, but takes time to ramp up. Basically, it gains up to 5% increased damage over 5 seconds when in combat with enemy champions. So you can pick. Do you want to go for this, the risky path, and you know, you have to get kills to be powerful? Or do you want to go 5% increased damage over 5 seconds? Because Katarina's gonna go in there, she's gonna ult channel, she's gonna throw knives, get on the knives, do damage. So the more you're in combat, the more damage you're gonna do to the enemy champions. It's your choice. You want to go for this or this? I can tell you right now, I would go for this, because this deal, I will go for whatever gives me more damage. I'm gonna go for that. I wanted the 7.5% maximum bonus damage. I want to deal as much damage as possible. Synchronize that with double-edged sword. I'm just gonna go all out, all out. I'm not gonna go with this, even though this is actually a very good option though. It's a very good option on Cat, but I'm still gonna go with this because I am a risky, greedy Cat player. I like to go for the damage. I like to get shit done. I'm confident with my champion enough to go for this. So, Oppressor, by the way, has been removed, but we don't care because that's not part of Katarina. But it's been removed, so there's that. And for a battle, it's not important on Cat. It's only basic attacks, so we don't really care too much about that for Cat. Cunning, stepping into a bush causes your next damage. This is interesting. Your next damaging attack or ability to deal 3% of your target's current health as bonus magic damage has a 9-second cooldown. This is very good if you're sitting on the island bush in the river and you catch someone trying to roam, or you catch them. Like you catch someone in a bush. You press W, then you press R. You throw the knife on the air, and then you press Death Lotus. The W lands. And you keep spinning while the W is still like, it lands on you, and you can spin during that and it won't cancel your ult channel. So there is that. It would only be useful in that situation. Other than that, I don't see much use of it outside of that. You need to be in a bush to cause your next damage to deal 3% of your target's current health. However, I don't know when they say this. Like, if I step in a bush and then I get out of that bush, do I still have that next damaging dealing 3% of my target's current health? Will I still keep that? Or do I still have to remain in the bush? That's my question. Because that does seem like a very awesome thing, really. It seems really fantastic. Here, this is about lethality, so we don't care too much about lethality, which is, by the way, armor penetration. Resolve, there's nothing much here that you need to know about Resolve, but gains 8 armor and magic resist when you're an allied turret. This would be good on Cat if you are feeling like you can't win laning phase and they keep poking the shit out of you under your turret. You're trying to farm, you can't farm. Like, I would never go for this. Like, Katarina is not a Resolve mastery type of champion. You don't need defense stats. You don't need like defense masteries. Just go for the aggression, man. Go for the aggression. You're really much better off. Even if you struggle early game, you are so damn strong in the mid game and late game. You're so damn strong, and Katarina's early is already much stronger than before. So you have that to your advantage. So I think this is not that necessary, but in some situations it will come in handy. Fearless, it gains 10% bonus armor and magic resistance, and yeah, you don't want to go for that. You don't want to go for 10 bonus armor and MR. You don't need these defense stats. Plus 2 flat armor and magic resist per level when damaged by enemy champion for 2 seconds. Yeah, I would not go for this. You do not need this. That's a big no-no. So just don't go for it. And of course here the stuff is for tanks and all that. Strength the Edge is removed, but this is a good item for Leona. And once you use the CC ability, it gives you a shield. You know, it's awesome. And it has a 30-second cooldown. So, but that doesn't matter for Cat. Anyways guys, that is about it for the Katarina rework and the everything you need to know about Katarina, everything you need to know like in the situation where you know, everything you need to know about Katarina, everything you need to know about items, things that affect Katarina in this patch. And you know, you got all these Amar items being reduced, which is awesome. There's no more Aegis of the Legion magic resist aura. I'm very happy to see that. We now know the range of the new Q. We all know this stuff, so it's really awesome. Increased base health regen, increased base health growth stat on the base stats on Katarina. Is really awesome. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this change. I'm pretty happy about this change, and yeah, that is about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys learned a few things from this, and it should be exciting to play the new Katarina. It's gonna be an awesome time. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.